Remote work is getting more and more popular today, and many people trying to work from home and find some job which could be done from home. And software, what first came to mind is that software industry is one of the well-paid industries for remote jobs, and it is actually difficult and take a lot of time to become a software engineer. But there are not the only software engineers in software industry. You can try another roles, which is much more simpler to learn for the initial start, to get paid for this job, as well as it will not take a lot of time if you educated person, smart, and uh, could operate with the information, know how to structure information, how to extract the information, what information could be presented in what form, and stuff like that. So I'm talking about the role in software industry which called business analyst. So in software industry, business analyst is not the analyst which analyzes various of businesses, their revenue and marketing and things like that, but it is the person who is rather analyzing the both sides of the product, of the software product, which is business side of things, which relate to this product, as well as understand the system side of things. Uh, to perform well this role in software engineering industry, you should be familiar with technical things as well, which is actually not difficult to learn how it actually works. So, what the business analysts in software industry do? Uh, Business analysts reading a lot, researching a lot, and reading about the field, about the domain. Let's say you need to implement or create application in the industry, which e-commerce industry. So you should understand how the e-commerce industry works. So you as a user already like buy something in Amazon, eBay, or whatever, wherever you buying things from, and also there are like the hidden part of these online famous stores, which is system. You clicked on the button, but a lot of processes started once you click on the button, and things like payments, notifications, email or SMS notifications, and um, anything you browse on the internet, the process is running behind of this scene. So the business analyst should read a lot to investigate the things important and necessary to develop the software product. And business analysts help developers to understand what they need to code, what they need to algorithm, and what instructions the software engineers need to provide machine with, uh, so that machine will understand what to do in certain step, in certain stage, in certain situation. So all these situations should be written in the instruction, as we know, as a software code. Software code is actually it is instruction for the robot, for the machine, which should know any granular exact action that they need to perform in any input situation. So it all about the zeros and one input and output. So any language, anything, any instruction should be detailed for the so the machine can get a yes and no decision based on the input information, on do not do decision, and involve any other subsystems. So I getting complicated, but it is just a brief description of what is all the industry about. So business analyst. So to do this job, you should not be crazy about reading information. You should not be crazy about learning new things, because you will always learn new things continuously. And you should write documentation, clear documentation, not like overweighted with a lot of complex words and phrases, but the simple uh, and enough for clear understanding of, so by software engineers, what they need to code to write. So you should be specific. You should not operate the things like it or they, but to be specific what exactly this relates to. And also you should like to draw the diagrams to simplify the text. You should not only write the text, but you should combine the diagrams, some schemes, and the text, where it provide a better, clearer understanding, and remove uncertainty in any steps and anything. So the diagrams business analysts use today are usually the UML diagram, Unified Model Language diagrams. They're pretty not that complicated. This is not like, not afraid about this word UML, but they are kind of standardized form of drawing. So if you have a kid and your kid is drawing something, you don't you asking what is that triangle, what is that line means, and what and etc. Same here. Any form of drawing, the lines between them and the form, uh, they have specific form, and they have specific understanding of what this form for. This is what UML about is, as any other language. So just English, Russian, French, etc. So diagrams, reading, researching, writing documents, drawing diagrams. Also, information. Software is all about the information, working this information, storing this, transferring this, structuring, and things like that. So you should be great at structuring the information logically by any criteria, but structure. What is a parent? What is a child of the information? What relates to what? And um, so you should be able to build some kind of tree structured information, so that it will be clear to see entire product structure as a tree view or something, maybe better for you to understand the relations among all the items for the one project. Also, you should be great in planning. So you should be able to estimate when you will discover all the things related to the project. What actions do you need to perform to discover the requirements for the information? So maybe you need to talk to the customer, to the users of the product. Maybe you should talk to the developers to get from them what is feasible, what is not in this kind of environment. So uh, and you should plan all your actions. So maybe you should draw this diagram. You should write this kind of scenarios. So actually, yeah, about the documents and the requirements. The best way today to provide software engineers with the understanding what system should do, what input, what output, is a way of some kind of use cases, and you just explaining from very beginning to very end to reaching and achieving the result. The interaction between system and the user. User do this. I click on login button. System verifies my login name and password, username and password. I click on buy button and things like that. But it's not about just the user interface buttons and things. There are also things, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, behind the product. So it could be like integration, you pulling in the information from all the flights tickets providers with their prices. It could be all the hotels provided their room availability when I searching for the rooms. So all these integrations, and we should also describe these for the developers so they can see when they should go to what resource to get what information. All this should be structured. But no worry, it's just like actually maybe sounds like hard from the beginning, but it's a real critical process and repeatable process. You just need to done one first project, and then it will be much more simpler. And in my further videos, I will explain some simple projects, maybe not only simple project, and you will see what the business analyst actually do and decide whether it is for you or not for you. So questions. You should be able to formulate the questions, and you should always be prepared. So and business analysts always prepared for the meetings. So they know the agenda of the meeting, they know the goal of the meeting, they actually set up these meetings, schedule these meetings, define the persons who are mandatory to participate in this meeting. So you are kind of a driver of the extracting the requirements and documenting them. You should drive the process. For sure, there are managers. You will work with managers, but things related to the product details and business analysts should drive these things. So questions. So the questions should be structured well, and so if we're talking about the login or payment processes, we should like group these questions for the login information, for the payment information, for the reporting and information, for the notification, and so on. So we should group these questions, and the questions should be like some kind of yes or no. This is the best questions for the customer. So to it's not good idea to ask from the customer whether how do you see the system? What would you like to see in the system? For sure, they know the vision and they have this vision, and usually they even provide the business requirements document on in any form. But they expect from the software engineer professional to recommend the best practices. So that is why it is good to read, to research, and to research competitors before the meeting, competing applications, so that you will already familiar in the domain, familiar in the system within this domain. It's you will spend just like few hours or maybe even hour for this research, but you will be well familiar, and customer will see that you talk with on the similar language with him or her. So uh, talking to the business, talking to the developers. So you kind of the bridge between the business and developers. So you kind of a translator. You translate all this input information from the customer, structuring this information, separate necessary and non-necessary details for the software development, and explain, translate it, and structured version to the developers. Working back and forth, developers will have additional questions. You will add these questions into your questions and ask this question from the customer. So this is kind of iterative process, and eventually you will get the finalized requirements, and you will see the criteria for clear requirements. It is not like kind of duplicated requirements, feasible requirements, and not confrontal requirements, so that one requirement is not like kind of in war of another requirement, so and vice versa. And you keep on track this criteria. This is just a brief explanation, and there are a lot of details: how to draw the diagrams, what is the best way to write the requirements. But to get an understanding of the profession, this is enough. So see you in the next video.